gonna try a 532 6013 for the cap. I have no idea where to set it other than, wow, I guess I just can't weld with 6013. What is up, guys? I don't know what's more embarrassing, sharing that I busted a pipeline weld test 20 hours from home, or sharing this video that you're fixing to watch. Believe it or not, before I shared last week's video, which was the 7014, my first time welding with 7014, before I shared that video, whenever I filmed it and this one right close next to each other, I thought 6013 was similar to 6011. Who knew? Who knew it wasn't? That's what you're fixing to learn. I know that, well, I can only assume that the majority of you already knew that, but I know there's some of you out there that were like me and you weren't sure. So that's why I'm still gonna share this, even though it's a little embarrassing. So just keep all this in mind while you're watching and listening to my reactions later in the video. On another note, I'm also going to be sharing with you a set of cage clamps that I got early on in my welding career to help line up pipe. Just another something to learn about. Get ready to learn. You know that's what we're all about around here on the Austin Ross Welding channel. So we're gonna learn about the cage clamps, and not only are we going to be welding with 6013, we're also going to be welding with 6011. For those of you who may not know, most of my welding career has been on pipeline work. Before I pipelined, I worked in a shop running a MIG gun, or a slang term is squirt gun, just a wire-fed short arc MIG. In other words, I've had no reason to burn 6013, much less look into it, what it's for, etc. So even though it's a little embarrassing to share this video, it is exciting to know that it hopefully inspires some of you that maybe are green to welding or hesitate with getting into something. I hope that this video inspires you to just jump in and try something. You know, I've been welding for 17 years and I'm still learning. That's one of the reasons I'm a huge advocate of learning something every day. Not only that, but we could go down a whole nother road talking about how many different niches, if you will, that you could choose to pursue with your welding career. All right, today we're gonna use these 3-inch cage clamps just to tack on a practice pup. Same thing I've done here. First thing we gotta do is clean up both of our bevels here, and then we'll try this bad boy. This is the first set of pipe clamps, or cage clamps is what we call them out in the field, that I ever bought years ago, back before I even knew what a bevel was, or a beveling machine. I was working for a little roustabout company, and I remember hand beveling instead of using a beveling machine. I remember using a grinder and just putting a bevel on, and I don't even remember where I heard about these at or anything, but I bought them, probably used them twice or something, and then I might have used them more than that, but not very much. And then they've been hanging up in my shop ever since. Well, not this shop, but because I didn't live here whenever I first started doing all this. But I don't remember how much they were or anything, but we're going to use them today. And we're also going to be welding with unconventional welding rod. I say unconventional as in like pipeline procedures. I never did use 6011 or 6013 on pipeline work, but I'm going to go ahead and make this weld with these two rods. 1/8 6011 for my bead, and then I'm going to try to cap it with this 5, but that's awfully big. I might end up capping it with this, but I want to weld with this, so I may try to cap it with this 532 6013. This is why it's a good reason to make sure your bevel machine cuts square, because if not, you got to do this to your cuts, square them up. These cage clamps are primarily used for like welding two full joints together, because on pipeline, aka welding two full joints together, or if you're double jointing stuff, which just means welding two full joints together, little pipeline term there, double joint, you're focused on your space primarily. You're not so much focused on your, it being square, because it doesn't have to be square, it's going in the ground, but you want your space to be good because it is going to be x-rayed. So it's not ideal to weld a pup on with this cage clamp, just so everybody is aware. Go get me some 6011. Come on, downtown. 50, yeah, we'll try that. Oh yeah, definitely not bad. Not bad yet. I could roll it, but I'm pretending this is a real double joint. We wouldn't be able to roll it. A wee bit wide now. Notice the flux is really soft in this 6011, and it's snuffing out real bad for some reason. I'm not loving that. I'm not loving that at all. See this rod, into this rod? See how that flux is all broke off from me breaking it off? That right there makes it way harder to start. That's one of the reasons. For one, it breaks off worse with this 6011 than it does with 6010, but even with 6010, that's one of the reasons why pipeline welders throw away a lot of rods sometimes, because rather than trying to strike it up and it's sticking and then trying to get it loose and taking a chance of arcing outside the bevels, we just throw it away and get a new one. Because on pipeline work, it's a huge no-no to arc outside the bevel. I can't even let it ride, without the arc sticking. Like I pretty much got to be welding with two hands. I will say though, the flux being soft is nice. It reminds me of Bowler. I believe Bowler's a German-made welding rod, and we did use some of it on certain jobs, certain pipeline jobs. They let us use it in the procedure, and the flux on it compared to Lincoln 6010 was softer, and that was nice, but it didn't stick like this does. Grinding outside the bevel is looked down upon also out there on the old pipeline. I'm going to use the 1/8 6011 again to hot pass it, bump it on down to 50. Yeah, it's really a little warmer than I prefer. I'll turn it down 5, but I'm afraid it's gonna snuff out on me. Yeah, that's crazy. How much cooler it is just with 5 degrees down. I'm actually impressed with how well it welded on this hot pass. I like it better for the hot pass than I do on the bead, I know that. Alright, now we're gonna try a 532 6013 for the cap. And I have no idea where to set it other than, you know, I'd rather it be a little warm than cold, so I'm gonna start out at 70. Whoa. I'm glad I turned it up. My gun is just an uphill rod or what? That don't make a lick of sense to me right there, boys. Hope y'all can see that. I'm gonna turn it up to 80. I do feel like it's a uphill rod. Some of y'all probably know. Let me know in the comments. I don't have any idea about the 6013. It acts nothing like 6011 or 6010. Whoa, wicked, man, wicked. I'm gonna try, because this is going not good, I'm gonna try to weld uphill over here. We'll take a look at that ugly mess here in a minute. Wow. I guess I just can't weld with 6013. Way too hot for what I'm welding on right now. I'm gonna jump over here and weld where it's cooler. And I'm gonna turn my machine down to 10. probably for stainless or something. I should probably go read on that box. Mild steel electrode. Wow. Maybe I just need to weld on something thicker. Y'all need to look at this. Just take a look at this mess that I've made with this welding rod that I clearly know nothing about. Oh, there it is. So I haven't brushed the slag off this. I'll brush the slag off. But, oh my Lanta. See, it was going good right here on top. Then it went to poo-poo right in here. It done got dark on us, boys. Had to go feed cows. Sort a couple of them off. Taking them to the processor here in a couple weeks. But I wanted to brush this off so you could see what kind of mess I made. This right here is called the School of Hard Knocks. In other words, I like to just start welding with a rod and see what happens. Look, it gets worse. It gets worse. There's a hole in there, boys. Yeah, I thought uphill would work a little better, but worked for a minute, but then it got really hot. So then I went over here trying to find a cooler piece of pipe, but it still didn't do what I thought. From my welding experience, because keep in mind, a puddle is a puddle is a puddle, right? From my experience, the rod is way too big for starters. For this ain't, it's not even a 1/4 inch thick, I don't think. I think that'd be considered schedule 40 or whatever. And it's not even tested pipe, not that that matters, but the rod's way too big, and that's the main deal from my welding experience. The rod is just way too big. It takes too much heat to keep the rod burning, and so whenever it's hot enough to burn, it's burning through the material that we're welding on. One side of me wants to keep practicing just because I'm kind of stubborn and I want to get it to work, but a part of me, again from my welding experience, is it's kind of nonsense. I don't need to be welding with this bigger rod on this size of pipe. The only reason I bought 532 6013 was because I couldn't find just 5 pounds of it in 1/8. I don't know if they had 332 or not. Found the stuff online. Because I don't run 6013 hardly ever, I literally bought this strictly for YouTube here. So I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of it that I wasn't going to use, so I was looking for 5 pound boxes, and the only one they had was 532. But I should probably run it on some thicker material flat to try to get an idea of this stuff, and we'll do that in a future video. Today I'm gonna grind all this mess off and cap it with the same thing that we put the bead and the hot pass in with, 1/8 6011. Future video we can learn how to patch a burn through also, because that's a common thing when starting out welding on pipeline, is burning through your bead, not your hot pass, although it has been done. All right, let's see how it cleaned up. Boy, it didn't fare very well. A little old blister down there. That's what we call that. It's a blister. So that ain't cool. This side looks a touch better. Down yonder is where the burn through was. Another view of our blister. We couldn't leave that blister right there on the old pipeline. No siree. All right, so now my favorite part of the video, which is what did I learn from welding with this 6013 welding rod? First of all, I want to thank all of you who commented in last week's video, the 7014 video, about your experience and everything you know about 7014, and some of you even shared what you knew about 6013 before you even knew this video was coming. I also want to thank my buddy Leo Martinez. He called me and we visited about 7014 and 6013. So because of all of you, I learned first and foremost that 6013 is mostly a flat, like just welding flat, like jet rod, and also just a drag rod. It's not necessarily designed for pipe. Another thing I learned is what you already know about, which is what I said earlier about the rod being too big for the material I was welding on. So even if this was flat 1/4 inch plate, I would probably want to go with at least a 1/8, if not a 332, but definitely that combination of pipe and the quarter wall or thinner thickness of pipe that we're welding on, not a good combination. Lastly, I personally don't see any reason for 6013 and even 7014 from the little I've welded with it, on the account of everything that I can weld 6013 with and 7014. I can do the same thing with the two rods that I buy and I primarily carry on my truck, which is 6010 and 7018. Not only can you weld in all positions with 6010 and 7018, but you can also weld on pipe with both of them. And 6010, you can weld uphill and downhill. 7018, it's only recommended to weld uphill, but either way you can weld with it on pipe. Now, with all that being said, because I love learning and I love a challenge, I am still looking forward to burning some more of this 6013 and 7014. Like I said in last week's video, I want to practice running uphill with both rods, see if I can get it to work. And then I even want to see if I can get it to burn on pipe. That is strictly a stubborn mindset though, because like I said, why, unless, I just thought of the price, unless it was significantly cheaper, which it might be, I don't know. I haven't priced a 50-pound box of 7018 versus a 50-pound box of 6013 or 7014. If it's significantly cheaper, then we might be on to something. Other than that, that's just me being stubborn. And I use the word stubborn as in like I said a second ago, I just love learning and I love a challenge. But from a like a business or a practical standpoint, there's really no reason to spend time doing such. But since we have a YouTube channel and I can share what I learn and I can learn more about studying the puddle just by welding with different welding rods, hey, I'm all about it. I'm still learning. I'm still learning more about that welding puddle. I'm a firm believer in trying to learn from anyone and everyone or anything in any situation that life brings you, because even if somebody is younger than you, that doesn't mean you can't learn from them. Or even if you're doing something silly or what seems to be silly, or maybe you feel like it's not as efficient, or whatever your mindset is used to thinking, if you're doing something that seems silly from your perspective, there is still something to learn from it. I guarantee it. You just got to keep your eyes open and keep your mind open to what is there to learn. If you want to surround yourself with others in the industry, check out the arosswelding Inner Circle. Link will be in the description below. It's more or less a social platform, social sharing platform, kind of like Facebook, except we talk about welding and like owning a business and stuff like that. There's several different circles that you can join, but primarily what there is right now is welders, future welders, business owners, etc. And for more helpful resources, check out our website, arosswelding.com. Thanks for watching, and remember, Learn something every day.